All right, let's see here. Oh, there we go. You know, here's a question in my mind. It just popped in my mind. um, it's like I've been studying the narcissist a bit in my own way. I always sought out wisdom, and I always realized that when people go out there and learn from a book, their mental algorithms get solidified and they can't think past them. So I always thought it was wise to study something on your own before reading the experts, right? Although that's not necessary, you know. I mean, if you realize how the mind works and all, then you can think past it. But you know, I've studied the narcissist for you know, a while now. But I've never gone to the psychology of it. I do every now and then. I'll see a video every now and then on it. And it's like I don't know. I mean, one of the things that I think they'll tell you is that there are different types, right? There are all these different types, right? Now, how I would see that is that it all comes from a different heart, right? Because we put the label on. We put the label on, and then we just... Like I was homeless one time, and I was like, when I was first homeless, I was totally sober. But everybody looked at me and hated me just because I looked like a homeless guy. So not everybody's the same, right? And you know, for me, it's like, you know. So okay, this is what I was just thinking just now. It was that, you know, we're living in a world of guilt, right? That's the population control method. You guilt the lower classes, and that guilt keeps them down, right? But that reality is going to shape our psychology and personalities to what we see today, right? And so, but that's what I noticed about these people. They're so afraid of guilt. It's just, and it's like sometimes, you know, you could have somebody coming from an abusive household, namely neglect. And there's so much neglect out there nowadays. By the parents neglecting their children. And if you combine neglect and guilt, like, it could be that's the source of some people's narcissism. You know, it's like you know, there's that idea of going into the darkness to search the lights that are hidden, you know. And the darkness sees you not. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and I fear no evil. And you see a lot of that in the Sumerian stories. Like Arishka Gala, she's a narcissist, right? And this is ancient psychology. and it's talking about this is how narcissists treat people. Like Rish Kagala, she's a narcissist. She was born into one of the ruling families, but those ruling families rejected her because she's a bitch. So she had to be off in her own home. Like someone just told me just now, be careful when you help people because you might be interfering with their karma. Which means when you're yearning to help them, you're gonna get some of their bad karma on you. Because it's like pig-headed. It's just like no hope of change. But I don't know. For me, I like the I like the Torah psychology, where it's all about the heart, And if that's the starting point, if the heart is the starting point, then maybe some of the narcissists, not all of them, but some of them can be saved. You gotta learn how to do it right, and I don't know how to do that. But stand people on their own 2 feet. Like that's what the Torah says. That's what the good rabbi does. It stands people on their feet. And I say the Torah, but like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I think the Torah refers to the earlier, because like I'm talking about the Old Testament. But I don't think all of the quote-unquote Old Testament is called the Torah in certain circles, but I don't know. But that's what I mean when I say the Torah, the Old Testament, because stand them on their feet. And then that's what Moses was trying to do. He was trying to stand these Jews who grew up in Egypt and their development was arrested, just like the Americans of today. Like the Jews of Egypt were exactly like the Americans of today. And he didn't give a shit about any of their whining. That's what parting the waters means. Like he led them to the good path, which he wanted to develop them. He wanted them to develop themselves. He wanted to stand them on their own 2 feet. And that's where these later Torah writers got that from. They got it from Moses. That's what he was trying to do. It's like, no, he's not trying to be their savior. They got to save themselves. You can't save people. But there are some people out there who've been abused. They've been abused by parents, by brothers or sisters, by grandparents, by so-called friends, and mainly by the religious leaders who are blind. Yeah, but that's the question. It's like, can... And I don't know the answer, because, like, I don't research it, because, like, I don't want to get trapped in a mental algorithm. Although I don't think I would be anymore. I think I've moved past all that shit. That's why I write a treatise on the book. It was like, it's all about critical thinking. If you don't have critical thinking, you don't have nothing. But critical thinking can be hard and difficult. Anyways. Um, yeah, no, like that's the question. It's like, are some are some narcissists the product of guilt rather than the product of what um, the ancients would call vanity? Because those are two totally different things, but can be expressed in the same way. It's just so much fear of guilt. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think?